Mayor Sylvester Turner.
Look, let me start off by thanking Isaiah and congratulating him on his leadership. And I do look forward to voting for Isaiah one of these days, okay? Uh, and then let me say, Matt, with the Student Senate. And Matt, you are right. I cut my teeth in politics right here on the campus of University of Houston. And I remember those days with the Student Senate and served as Speaker of the Student Senate, so it has served me well. Alexis, thank you. Appreciate your leadership and the marches and standing up for racial equity and social justice. And quite frankly, that's what this election is all about. So thank you to all of these student leaders. Look, come on, give it up to them. And then I have to acknowledge my good friend. I don't know how she does it. She's just all over the city, quite frankly, from DC to the city of Houston. She is a true champion of our colleges, our universities, our communities. Couldn't make it within the city without her. So please give it up to none other than the Congresswoman of the 18th Congressional District, Sheila Jackson Lee. And I know she won't mind. I'm going to ask if she will, if she'll have some comments after I finish. Certainly would appreciate that. Look, go Cougs, go vote, okay? We were talking about how can we do our part as a city to encourage participation in this process. And one of the things that I thought about is that, quite frankly, our college campuses and universities lead the way. And I know in spite of everything that's taking place, it's important for our college students to participate in a very meaningful way in this election process. And therefore, we thought about the Mayor's Challenge, University of Houston, Cougs, Texas Southern University, the Tigers, Rice, the Owls. So what better way? In our city, we are competitive. Juliet, I know you're from Rice, so be quiet. You work for me. So today you are Coug through and through, But every single day, the Harris County Clerk will be announcing who voted at the different polling places throughout the city of Houston, every single day. And the thought would be in a very competitive way, but positive way. For the city of Houston, my office, me as the mayor, to challenge University of Houston, Texas Southern, and Rice, even in this environment, to encourage the students, faculty, you name it, to do as much as you can to bring people to the polls every single day. This is the first day of early voting. The last day is October the 30th. But every day, we need record numbers of people going to the polls. And so I'm starting, I don't have a favorite. You know I'm lying. I don't have a favorite, but let me just say I'm starting right here on the campus of the University of Houston. And so, we want the colleges and universities to lead our city in encouraging people in our city to go to the polls and vote. Why University of Houston, for example, for today? Well, I'm a product of University of Houston. Senator Carol Alvarado in the legislature is a product of the University of Houston. Senator John Whitmire, Jason, is the product of the University of Houston. And a very close friend of mine, who happened to have been the first African-American student body president at the University of Houston, right here off this campus. Very close friend of mine, Keith Wade. Keith is no longer with us. 2020 has been a horrible year, and he died of the coronavirus a few months ago. But Keith was the first African-American that was the president of the student body right here on this campus. Now, Desmond, he was a Kappa. Won't hold that against him. But from this campus, being the president, Keith ended up working for former Congressman Mickey Leland. He was a special advisor for former Mayor Annise Parker. He was my special advisor as mayor, okay? He was someone who would be on this campus right now, helping to organize. And Keith would be saying to us, it is our obligation to do everything we can to get people out to vote. These persons came from this campus, from this school. And so it's only fitting for us to be here, right here on the campus of the University of Houston, to encourage people to go and vote. I know the Congresswoman may mention this, but former Congressman John Lewis was the youngest person to speak at the Civil Rights March in 1963. The youngest one. And what former Congressman John Lewis said is that the most powerful way to express yourself is through the right to vote. After the death of George Floyd, literally hundreds of thousands of people across the globe marched, demonstrated, and protested against racial inequity and for social justice. Well, if you stop there, we still don't do everything we need to do. We've marched, we've demonstrated, we've protested, but now is the time to cast your vote, because your vote is your voice. And this election is consequential. Who you vote for matters. Literally matters. On the street that you live, it matters. For a kid like myself, growing up in Acres Home, the north side, the fofo, and I'm Harvard educated, and U of H, I know it's 4-4. I got that. But in my neck of the woods, it's the fofo. Okay? It matters. I would not have gotten through University of Houston without the assistance from the federal government. Would not have happened. My mom was a maid rearing 9 kids. My dad died early of cancer when I was 13. Okay? So without people on the front line making a difference for myself, I would not have made it through University of Houston. Voting matters. Who you vote for matters. And this election matters. And so we simply wanted to come on campus to say to University of Houston, I know people, some are learning remotely, but look, we can communicate with people through social media. We can encourage them to participate. And if 60,000 folk in the city of Houston marched downtown after the death of George Floyd, we can also march to a voting place right here on campus and exercise that fundamental right to vote. So I hope you will. I'm encouraging you. University of Houston, Texas Southern, Rice. Let's see at the end of the day, on October 30th, let's see who reigns supreme. And Cougs, I'll be disappointed on a challenge that I have started if Cougs don't come in at the top of the line. I'll be disappointed. Don't make your mayor ashamed. So let's do our part to encourage people to go and vote like your life depends on it. Because quite frankly, it does. When over 200,000 people have died from this coronavirus in this country, over 16,000 in the state of Texas, over 1,200 in the city of Houston. And when your campus is not full of students every single day like it used to be, this election is important. And vote all the way down the ballot. Don't leave any position out. Vote all the way. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. But I'll close with this. If your life is not better now than it was 4 years ago, it ought to tell you something. So exercise your right to vote.